It would appear that politics is no longer providing that kind of avenue for the general Kenyan because of the dalliance of the two biggest parties. The place of the opposition or the alternative voice is no longer there. Kenyans who would have used that channel to express themselves don't have it now. What other channels do you think they will adopt going forward? It's only 3 years to the next election.
We just pray that Kenyans will just be annoyed enough by the next election for them to make the right decision. What worries me is the fact that even Parliament, as it is constituted, there are still one or two people who should be able to stand up to be counted, but seems they are all scared of the fact that they are being emasculated by the government of the day, particularly by the president himself. And at times, when you do an audit of some of the leaders who have been occupying this space, that they are the people fighting for the rights of Kenyans, you realize their voice has been lost, including the Honorable Raila Odinga. And when I did analysis of his political presence on the landscape since he came to Parliament in 1992, he has not been able to stay in the opposition for 5 years, except the period between 2013 and 2018. Otherwise, any other time, he was part of the regime and therefore confusing national politics and convoluting democracy as it ought to be. Because we must accept that when you lose an election, you go home, wait for another chance to fight again, and if you lose again, you call it a day or you decide otherwise. Otherwise, the issue of going for an election only to come back either through the window, the back door, or through the ceiling and say you are part of the regime is something that is worrying me. If you open papers any day, Fred, you realize, like now, when you check Nation, Standard, a lot of properties being auctioned. The people who are doing well are auctioneers because it is a field day for them. Nobody is able to pay the loans that they took, because the interest rate went up, because the government started borrowing domestically and now forcing the banks to raise the interest rate up to almost 24%. And if you had borrowed when you expected, it was just going to be 15%. So your projections are wrong. And if you are pending bills with certain institutions, and let me declare, I don't have any project with government, so I have no pending bill with any institution. But there are many people who are suffering. Check even Nation. There are many houses being sold on Kiambu Road, wherever in Nairobi. And these are painful experiences. You see a house, a decent house in Kenya, may cost you between 50 and 100 million to have it erected and to be in the form that it is. Then you borrow 30 million, it blows up to 50 million. You are not able to service it. You don't have any other source of income. That house will be sold for 50 million. Something that you have spent more than perhaps 10 years or 20 years or 30 years of your life. You find many families are now losing their homes. This is something that the government should be worried. But coupled with that is that when you read the report of Controller of Budget, when you read the report of Controller and Auditor General, there are glaring areas of misappropriation, areas of wastage. And instead of this regime spending time on that, they are spending time on grandiose new project or for purposes of getting the cut or kickback, as it were. They are spending a lot of time sending money out of the country. Part of the issue of liquidity is that either the thieves are keeping money in foreign currency in their houses, or they are investing this money in Dubai. When you see shisha, it's not entirely foreign. And you see, when you talk about private sector getting involved in investment in the country, we don't mind private sector, but let it be private sector of Kenyans, not private sector of people coming from other lands.
Right.
Otherwise, we are losing our economy.
Mwanapogisho, the exit of Raila Odinga, because I can see on the front page of Taifa Leo, it talks about Kwaheri, seems to have changed the political landscape. These discussions that you're talking about, high taxation, the economy, this should be the conversations among political leaders, that even in Parliament, on any other platform that's a political platform, these are the discussions that our politicians should be spearheading. But for some reason, no one is talking about this. This has been left for Kenyans. No one is talking about the economy when it comes to the politicians. How come? And when do we expect that to change?
Well, we don't expect our politicians to do anything now. First of all, Parliament has been captured, as you know.